Time banks are basically service, and it would be service to others. You're basically in a group, and you will have members in a group, and these members will be from your community. How I envisioned it was THI California being the main hub of our time bank. So our time bank would be THI California. And then as we're spread over the entire state in many different cities and many different counties, we could each, because we want local services. So if THICA just stayed a hub, none of us could really interact with each other that well because we're not that close. What we could do, though, and what many of the other hubs have done, is start local, small group time banks. And with this, you can get all your local services. And I'm going to start my presentation in a minute. But basically what it does is it provides community. It bypasses the financial system. You still get the services that you want and need, depending on how many people that are in your group. Those are the services that will be offered. And I have some ideas, because a lot of people I was reading, they said you can't get the professionals. You can't get the doctors. You can't get the lawyers. You can't get the veterinarians. And I say, yes, we can. We can get those guys. Because what we could do is propose many helping field professions will have pro bono hours that they have to serve in a year. So we would say, hey, guess what? If you want those pro bono hours to serve you and serve everyone in the community, come on over here and join our time bank. And that way you will still get the services provided. People will still get their pro bono hours, and they also get something in return. They get the hours, they get the credit, the service credit. So it's actually a win-win for everybody. So with that being said, and actually I wanted to say another thing. I see this being incorporated into the farm co-op that we want to start as well. So there's two separate things, but really once it blends together, it's going to be one thing. And with the farm, I was thinking if we had a food pantry, which would be under the unincorporated articles to start, as we're trying to get our 501(c)(3). So we're still covered liability-wise. We still have that going, and we could still accept donations. It just requires being registered with the state. And once we get that going, we could start receiving donations, and we could immediately start handing out food to people, because then we could get donations and still be covered. And as we grow our farm and our co-ops, and we grow more and more and more, we can fulfill our food pantry from our produce that we're growing and anything else that we have. And how we keep volunteers working on our farms and our co-ops is through the time bank. Because if we want a farm, we have to have people. We need people to help us do these things. And with the 501, with the nonprofit, you don't want to have too many employees. You want to have a minimal amount for your admin and stuff like that, but as many volunteers as you could get would be even better. So with that said, let me go down to share screen. We'll start here. And I was thinking that, I don't know, can you guys see me? Is that too big? You guys all right?
Beautiful. I see.
Looks great.
Okay. So my idea of time banking would be THI California taking the lead and starting a time bank, a main time bank. And as we have this main time bank, wherever each one of us are, we gather groups of our friends and our family members, and we can start 3 to 5 to 10. Many just start out that way, and give it a trial run, see how it works. That's the thing, just get the energy moving. And at that point, we can log through our time bank, our main time bank, that we have X amount of cities, we have X amount of counties, which just kind of increases your currency, your effective currency. So time banking by me. I don't have my mouse. I can't find it. Sorry, guys. I'm not techie. Okay, what is time banking? It's a time-based currency. In economics, a time-based currency is an alternative currency or an exchange system where the unit of account or value is the person or the hour or some other time unit. Some time-based currencies value everyone's contributions equally. 1 hour equals 1 service credit. Time banking is unique, and each area offers what skills and services are available from its members. Time banking is a way to transition to a new way of life with less waste, fewer resources consumed, building community, and bypassing the fiat money system. This is a way to start to build trust within humanity and to start to build relationships with other species. So this is actually where I got this information. It's through Wikipedia. And the thing I wanted you guys to see was the third line down. I had my son out a question for me. He said, is it only based on an hour? So 1 hour equals one, some people call them time dollars or time credits, whatever you guys would want to call it. I don't really care. Some people actually go down, if you'll see it says, others use time units that might be fractions of an hour. So you could use 10 minutes or 15 minutes, right? I don't know if I'd want to do that. I mean, it kind of depends, I guess, on what the service is itself. So I guess why I wanted to show you this, but I'm saying there's many ways we could actually do this, and there's really no limits. So it's kind of, what do you want to do? So how does it function? So basically, it's a group of people that get together with an admin, 1 or 2, 3, 4, doesn't really matter, whoever you pick. And these people have some degree of computer skills, but there are software that are already built, and I have listings for those. Or we could get someone to code something for us. It doesn't really matter. It can be as extensive as you want it to be, or it could be as minimal as you want it to be. It's kind of up to you and the members. It's the members of the group who are going to make a decision. So it kind of looks like this. I do 1 hour of service for, say, Phyllis, right? Maybe I go over and I clean her kitchen. Phyllis signs off. She signs off on the hour that I worked. Maybe I worked 1 or 2 hours. Phyllis will take that, and she'll either give me a piece of paper that's a time credit paper signed, and I can either go to the office and turn it in, or you can go online if you have that capability, and you can log on there. At that point, the time bank verifies that transaction happened. The administrator credits it and then debits the accounts of each person who had the transaction. The service offers are the things that you could have going. Let's say ride shares, daycare, buying groceries for people, repairing fences, painting, baking, cooking, music lessons. It's really, sky's the limit. The thing that I did see, when you do have your service offers and you put your offer out, so you'd say, my name's Kim Hagstrom, and I'll paint for you, I'll stack wood for you, I can give you rides, I can do like maybe 10 things, and those are the things I'm willing to do. And people can come and check out the offer, and if that's acceptable to them, then they'll log on to mine, and we can make that transaction. The thing where I could see where people might get caught up at first is you can go into deficit really easy, into a negative balance, if you're not volunteering your time, because you can use a service. And I think there must be a way to stop that from happening, but the information that I was getting, people weren't really completely clear about that. So I honestly have to say I'm going to have to do a little more homework on that. But there was a little video I wanted to show you guys. Are you guys up to watching a tiny, like 2 or 3 minute video, or do you want to go on? I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kim.
I'm on YouTube.
Can we get sound? There's no sound.
There's no sound, Kimberly.
Oh.
Maybe start it again?
Yeah. You guys can't hear it?
Well,
No.
I think it's because the sound being inputted into Zoom is from your microphone and not from the browser.
Hold on. Hang on a second, guys. Well, that's a snafu. Can you hear it?
Yeah, just increase the volume.
Time banking is volunteering.
There you go.
Where you give and receive time, so it's exchanges of services. So people have lots of different skills that they offer, such as IT or watering plants, doing gardening, and in return they bank their hours. So every hour is a credit, and then in return they can get back hours and get back services from other people. Our Time Bank members have got a huge variety of skills, and we've got lots of people that go out and befriend and help each other and play Scrabble and just chat for the afternoon.
So I started volunteering. Initially, it was just the gardening, and then it led on to decorating as well. So we do the gardening in the summer and the decorating in the winter. When you've done a job, you get the person you've done the job for to sign a little slip to say that you've worked for a couple of hours. And then once you've got a few, then you bring them into the office here, and they bank them up for you, and it's on the books that you've done so many hours work, you know. And if you want, then you can get so many hours work back for you. But I don't do that. I just give mine to the time bank, and they're all donated, so someone else can just take advantage of them.
We go out and do work decorating, DIY and gardening for people that are frail, disabled, can't get out of their house and want their garden looking nice, all sorts of different things. And then we come out and do it. It could be small as like putting a doorbell up to completely redecorating someone's room out for them.
Well, it makes an awful lot of difference, really, because I don't have to worry about the gardening or jobs in the house. You know, they're so good that they can come down and do that for me. Just can't get small jobs done outside anywhere. They cut all the hedging back so that didn't grow over my fences. And I've had help with my laptop. And somebody put a rail up across my back door so I could put a curtain there in the winter time. So I've had quite a bit done. And I don't do a lot. I'm not mobile and got transport and that. But I go to the coffee mornings. And whenever we go to Time Bank, I go to the Knit and Knacker, which they do knitting for charities abroad. And also for social. It's a social thing as well.
I think it does help her out quite a lot, because obviously she can't do it herself. Whatever happens, she's always got to have someone to come and do a garden for her.
I would really recommend it. I think it's important to be able to give in your community, to feel valued yourself, but also for the pleasure of actually seeing the difference it can make for other people. I think it's a virtuous circle, which sounds a rather highfalutin way of saying it, but it is. The good comes around, and it comes to other people, but it comes back to you, which feels a pretty good thing to be involved with.
The reason I'm doing the Time Bank and in Time Bank and volunteering is because I get a lot of satisfaction doing it. And it makes a big difference to other people's lives.
We've to date got about just over 200 members that are Time Bank members, offering all sorts of services. And we've actually now been asked to roll it out across parts of Essex. And also we're looking at developing a youth Time Bank specifically for young people aged between 18 and 24. So it's great news for us, and we're highly delighted to take that across Essex. It's thoroughly rewarding. It's great to see so many people within the community helping each other and supporting each other. It's a wonderful scheme.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. That's the main part that I liked. I always go back to what Thomas was talking about with building the community. And you could see how she said that it started out small and it just kind of, it's escalating. And now they're starting new ventures from it, and they're increasing their membership, which is a really amazing thing. And that's why I was thinking, if we start out with a big THI as the main mother hub, and then we each get our own little group going, we're immediately going to have many, many people, friends and families, just to start off with, and anyone else we can get into our group. And that's all just going to be one giant network. And then if we can get the other THI groups to network with us and then get the country groups, it will be like national, regional, and then international. That's what I was thinking. So the beginnings of time banking. Actually, some of the earliest known time banks, you can see up in the right-hand corner, it came from Japan, and it's Fiere Kipu, which means time dollar, or carrying credits, carrying tickets. And this is where it began. It began in an old senior with the seniors. They actually needed help, and they were willing to help each other. And this is how they kind of did it. They started out, and it just kind of escalated, and more people heard about it. And then the time banking in the United States of America became more visible in the 1980s when a really famous law professor from the London School of Economics, Edgar Kahn, stepped up and came up with what he calls a sharing economy. Instead of a market economy, it's a sharing economy. And his premise is that all people are valuable, from the children to the seniors. And in his theory, we share our excess goods and abilities and services to everyone else and other people within our groups, while spending very little cash to help each other out. And oh yeah, the best part is that it's tax exempt. So all these services, so there could be goods involved as well. So say a young professional guy doesn't like to cook his dinner, but he can get a grandma to come over and she brings him chicken noodle or whatever. So she can do that as part of her service, and then that gives her an hour, and then he can turn around and do an hour. So he doesn't have to do an hour with her. He can do an hour with anyone else. But that's the thing. So there can actually be service products involved as well, and those would be tax exempt as well. So because it's part of the service. And they're not regulated. That's the thing. This slide is what time banks are not. So you can see the picture on the left is the barter system. The time banks are not bartering exchanges. Bartering exchanges are actually monitored by the IRS pretty closely nowadays. They didn't used to be, but now they are. And they're getting, for your services and your goods that you're bartering, they're actually getting fair market value. And the thing about bartering is it's really difficult because that requires a trust bond between people. And now you've got to come up with the price of your product or your object or whatever it is that you're exchanging and bartering. And there's taxes involved and rules and lots of rules. So, and it's contractual. So there's actually contracts when you come into a meeting of the minds with the person, you make the barter exchange, there's actually a contract that goes with that. The thing about the time banks is there's no contracts at all. It's just service, and it's tax exempt service. So time banks are defined by the IRS as an informal exchange of similar services on a non-commercial basis and do not result in the creation of contractual rights and obligations among members. And this actually came from a private lettering ruling from the actual IRS itself. So there's the actual factual basis for it, that you could pretty much be unregulated in what your service is to another person, and no one's going to say, the IRS doesn't say anything. And you do not have to file, for the most part, they do not make you file any 1099-B or anything, so, which is nice. It's really great. Time banks in America in 1995. Since 1995, time banks have increased to across 300 cities in 40 states, as well as to over 30 countries. These are considered active time banks. The unique feature of time banking is that it allows for all people to participate, offering services and skills on an equal basis. 1 hour of service equals 1 credit. This allows for utilization of each unique human's abilities while simultaneously offering an alternative, tax-exempt, time-based currency that places its users outside the scope of influence of the fiat debt-based system, as the currency is time, as well as service. Thomas's favorite, building community and caring and sharing. Time banks offer value to people's lives by sharing relationships, skills, strengthening communities, while consuming fewer resources. It takes the emphasis off of economic gain and brings us back to our neighbors and family and friends. This service exchange system allows for members to receive help they normally might not be able to get, such as home maintenance repairs or piano lessons. Some people do aromatherapy and massage, sports fitness, personal trainers. There's all kinds of stuff. My son thought this picture was really funny. At the head of each time bank is an administrator who verifies the hours worked logs them into the Time Bank software app, and applies credits and debits as needed. So I'm thinking that that would be like one main steady person for the main hub, and then for each local time bank, then you would have one person that does that, and each of those time bank coordinators or admin people would coordinate with each other to make sure everything stays on track. So there's actually a bunch of software out there, and these are the two main ones that people are using right now. One's called Our World, and the other one's called Our Exchange. And they keep track of the hours of the members as well as each member's skills and services on offer. So example, Jane Doe gives a one massage to Jack, and he logs with either a time paper slip like you saw the old man do. He went to the office. They both sign, or he logs onto the website and verifies Jane spent time in massage. The host admin of the time bank then verifies that this service was performed and logs 1 hour credit into Jane's account and takes one from Jack. At that point, Jack should be doing service as well. You don't want to get into a deficit situation where you only use services. Each member is responsible for performing services as they see fit. Each member can also use their credits for whatever member services are offered in their area time bank. And as every area is different, the environments, you're going to have different services. Equal service for equal hours. Time bank members can earn credits ideally for doing something they are good at for someone in your time bank community. Once you earn a time credit, there are no expiration dates, and you can spend it on any service offered in your time bank community, or you can donate it. Professionals. Many professional services such as medical, dental, lawyers don't like to offer these services because they feel their hourly rate is more valuable than many other lower paying jobs and skills. So many time banks have limited professional services. I propose that for professional services that our time bank offers the dentist, the doctor, a vet, a lawyer, a psychologist, an engineer, or any professional that they are pro bono services during the year, they should come to the time bank and leverage those pro bono hours for time credits. They will still be helping the community and building relationships and also accruing valuable time credits to use for another member's service. And also I thought after I finished this whole presentation, you can also have them do stuff besides their, if they want to join your time bank, but they don't want it to perform dentistry or medical or whatever, they could also, maybe they paint, maybe they lay concrete, maybe they do woodwork, whatever it is, maybe they prefer to do that as well. So there's no real, they don't have to do it if they don't want to, but it'd be nice if we could get some skills for people in the community for that too. So it's a win-win for all members. All skills are equal. We each have many valuable qualities and services to share. How to create a time bank. This place, timebank.org, actually has the resources that allow you to do a mock, to start up a mock, if you choose it to be mock, a mock time bank with a small group, like 3 to 10 people, I think it is. So you start the group, you list all your skills and abilities, you network within the community that you have your time app, which keeps track of everything, and you verify it. And I figured since we're all scattered all over California, we each who are interested in this should start a time bank in our local area.
What is time banking? Well, simply put, it's the concept of using time as currency. But there's a bit more to it than that. The real purpose of it is to give the same value to everyone's time in order to create currency-less trades of favors among a community. This way, each individual can maximize his or her own strengths while also using the strengths of others. The idea initially sounds pretty socialist and, granted, a bit backwards. You're probably thinking, isn't this just like bargaining, like we did before money existed? Sounds pretty inefficient. Let's say you're a very busy but absolutely excellent baker. You're in my community, but I don't know you that well. I want you to teach me how to bake bread, but it would take about an hour, and I don't have any currency to pay you with. So perhaps to thank you for all the hard work, I'd give you a massage for an hour, because maybe I'm good at that. But what if I'm actually a terrible massager, and you don't want a massage from me, but from our friend, who's a pro massager? This would stop the trade from happening, because we don't both have something the other wants. Now let's consider the situation using time as currency. After you teach me how to bake bread, I can pay you with an hour of time credit. Then you can ask our friend to give you a massage, and pay her the hour I pay you for teaching me how to bake bread. This is how time banking works. It preserves the value of everyone's time, while also maintaining the efficiency of the value-carrying currency. And I'm certainly not suggesting that this sort of system replace the free market economies across the world. but rather that it is used within smaller communities of people. This will help maximize on individual strengths and build strong relationships within the community. But you may ask, shouldn't people in small, close-knit communities just help each other regardless? Well, yes, of course they should, but chances are they won't, because the people that need help will feel like they're imposing, and those that help might feel like they're getting taken advantage of. For example, let's say you're super busy, but need to get quite a bit of groceries. You've got your long list ready, but you just can't make it to the store tonight. You find out that your friend that lives next door is going to the grocery tonight on his own. Could you ask him? What would you do? Well, he'd probably be okay with you asking him to grab a few things for you. A small favor. But that won't help you very much. On the other hand, you could give him your whole list, asking for a huge favor. It'll probably feel like you're imposing on him, no matter how much you thank him for it. Here's where time banking again fixes the issue, allowing you instead to ask for a bigger favor by offering an hour credit, which he can use later when he needs a bigger favor. Time banking, then, is a way to empower each and every member of the community to feel like they're an essential part, because their time is worth just as much as everyone else's. But what if some of the most in-demand skills are lacking from their community? Or what if members are offering things that nobody really wants? Well, ideally, this is fixed by a teaching aspect of time banking, because a time banking system works best when the hours are exchanged for teaching each other skills, which then benefits not only the individual traders, but also the community as a whole. This works by introducing another member with the one in skill. So now you know. You can think of time banking as a formalized favor-giving system, but it's so much more than that. It's a way to bring people together, getting individuals to teach each other skills they actually need, thus building both overall better individuals and communities. It's not the fix-all economy, but it's certainly the trying.
Since we already have our group formed, THI California, it wouldn't be too much of a leap to take the members that we do have and to create a much broader impact in a greater area. We're literally scattered from North, Central, and Southern California over many counties. The THI California Time Bank could be the central hub. From there, we network with the other THI state groups and country groups. Local groups can source members from newspaper ads, radio, schools, colleges, co-ops, medical fields, animal vets, assisted living, garden, community gardens, ride shares, daycare, after-school programs, maintenance and home repairs, and there is no limit to this. Pretty much wherever there's a member of the community that you live in, they could be a part of your group. We could use the current time bank software that's being offered, or we could actually, I know people who do coding and stuff, and maybe some of you guys do too. We maybe could get people to make one for us if we wanted to have our own. We can start local for our own cities and counties and network to other groups and go, basically the sky's the limit. Barter or trade, we could talk about that, but I just didn't like the fact that that stuff is regulated by taxes. I'm really into tax exempt stuff. And then this actually leads to the next discussion, which is the food in the farm pantries and our co-op. All of this stuff could actually work hand in hand. They will go together very, very nicely. So for the future thinking, it is the responsibility of members of humanity to come up with a plan that bypasses the traditional Federal Reserve banking system and allows the American people to heal themselves and find value with who we are as a species. A system of service to others that utilizes our skills, abilities, and love of helping each other in a crisis of which we are currently in. We must rise together to form a solid community of trusting and caring humans, while also looking to the future to establish responsible bonds of trust and service to species who remain outside of our current awareness. We need a system that allows for goods to be collected, food pantries, and distributed to those in desperate need while building up an independent system of time currency that can be used in place of money. THI California members can participate in many ways to begin to establish this future thinking, such as starting food pantries, which are tax exempt, to work in tandem with our project with Farming Co-op, where we could utilize much of our fresh produce for the food pantries Farming Co-op, ensuring our clients fresh, healthy food in abundance. By having an attitude of cooperative species engagement and showing that we can be responsible in a no-harm manner, We accept that we are human representatives on a mission for peace, abundance, and manifesting what we need through love and compassion. I propose that any project we undertake starts with love and compassion for ourselves and spreads out like a wave to meet all interested beings and brings them together to create community and family. We at THI California stand here and now to step forward and present ourselves to the wider cosmos, human representatives of caring and sharing. Thank you, Thomas Williams. Willing and eager to build relationships based on trust, love, and service to others. Time banking will be just the beginning. And that's the end.
Very nice. Thank you, Kimberly.
Excellent.
That was awesome.
Incredible. I think. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh man, you answered so many questions that I had about corporate to unincorporate to so on and so forth. Thank you. You're a brilliant gal. You are a brilliant gal.
If we can manage to just stay out of the system, you know, I mean, we're going to want, at some point, we're going to want the 501. We're going to, well, are we? I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to put that out there for us. I mean, it's an option. Let's just say that. We can literally, but we can start here with all this right now and literally get going. We can literally be doing something immediately. It won't take that much. And that energy that we're doing, by doing right now, coming on the call, you know, writing documents up, making presentations, doing the visualizations, we're setting in motion what we want, what we desire, what we need. We're going to get that. Because we're standing up here right now and we're saying we're going to be responsible. We show up and we're responsible. We want to do this. And we're just literally, like I was telling, we're sitting on top of it. It's right there. We just have to reach out and grab it. And I think that this group is willing to do that. And I'm excited because this can easily translate into the other groups. Because it's not that difficult to get going. It just isn't. It just takes members. The local group could be your family and friends. If you had 5 to 10 people in your family and friends, you have a hub. And then you get going. And it starts out that easy. And then we get more members and more members. Pretty soon, my vision is that we just won't even worry about the money eventually. I thank you guys for showing up and listening. I do. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. And is there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
What kind of, were there any, I guess, complications or anything like that people were experiencing in the research that you had done?
I didn't see any, and I did a lot of research. I have a long list of links for this stuff. Not people weren't reporting them, but that could be because they weren't happening. You know, maybe people had some inappropriate actions. I'm sure at some point that will happen, but that was probably handled by the administration of the time bank. It just wasn't anything they were going to be putting out there. But I honestly didn't come across anything like that. I could go do a search for it, an exhaustive search to see for that specific topic. But I'm thinking that if you're getting services, you're pretty happy with that. Like that little old lady, she couldn't do any of that stuff herself. So she was just excited to have somebody come and help her take care of that. And I think with some of the older people, it's just when you get isolated like that, it's nice to have people show up and talk to you too. So that's where the community building comes in as well. And that's all energetic sharing, which is the part that I'm excited about. Just like Alan James on that call, he's all about the energy, right? So I'm always looking at the flow behind what it is we're saying and we're doing. There's a whole flow of energy that starts when I open my mouth and you guys perceive it, right? There's a relationship, an energetic relationship that gets established with that. And that's the part that I'm interested in. Because if you start the communities across the whole state of California, we just start, and we each get one, we immediately just blaze light onto this state. Where it was dark, it is not dark anymore. And you can't stop that. It's like a beacon going off.
Okay. Debbie has a question, it looks like. Debbie, jump in.
Hello, everybody. Kimberly,
Hi.
that was so beautiful. Thank you.
Debbie, can't hear you, Debbie.
Uh-oh.
Eric, hold on, Debbie. Eric, I'm going to look at the answer for you, okay?
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay, Debbie.
All right. Can you hear me?
You need to move closer to your mic, Deb.
I hear you a little.
Baby. Oh, you know what? I've got my ear thing. All right. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe it's going through this. Okay, good. Kimberly, that was so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that work. So I wish that we could get away from the IRS. You know, I wish it was just so much easier. But a nonprofit, a 501(c)(3) or however that goes, will take off the individual liability,
right,
and it will make all of this tax exempt.
Yes. Well, we can have under an unincorporated tax exempt. It's called tax exempt. It's a nonprofit. An unincorporated nonprofit. Small groups of people who come together temporarily to perform some social good. They might raise money for a limited purpose, such as helping a neighbor or sending a local high school band to a competition. Some groups simply bring in such limited income that a formal business model would not be necessary. So mostly what they're used for is when you need like a GoFundMe, but it's not a GoFundMe. And you don't expect to be doing it for a long time. The reason I thought it would be good is because in California, just a second, let me see if I can find it. Okay, these informal groups are called unincorporated nonprofit associations. They usually come and go as needed. However, if that group or association continues indefinitely, it may be subject to certain legal requirements, even though it hasn't filed incorporation under its state incorporation laws. So if you didn't file for a 501 and you just ran unincorporated, they might hold you responsible. For an example, an unincorporated association may need to file tax returns, whether as a taxable or tax-exempt entity. What you'll definitely have to do is register your informal association. If it's going to continue for a period of time, you need to recommend registering it with the Secretary of the State. And I actually went there, and you'd get an EIN number. And if you registered it with the state as an unincorporated tax-exempt nonprofit, then you would be, under California law, you're not held liable. To a certain extent, it's like an X amount of monetary amount. I think that would be good to have us registered, unincorporated, as we're filing for a 501(c)(3)(c), so that we have something. We're a group. We're an entity together, right? We're an association. We're an actual nonprofit association, because it could take a while to get it will take a while to get the 501.
Yeah.
They don't just hand them out. But we need something to cover us in the meantime.
You think that would be pretty quick doing it that way?
Huh?
You think that would be pretty quick to do?
To do the registering of the
unincorporated.
Yeah. You just register it with the state. There's a process. We have to come up with the name. We have to get the EIN. We'll get the bank account. So we need to do all those, establish those, and then register it with the state. And at any time, I read up on that, and I have the articles for corporation for that. At any time you want to go back and get out of that, you just file for dismissing it and dropping it, and it's dropped. And as soon as we got our 501, we would just file for it to be dropped. We wouldn't keep it anymore. We wouldn't need it.
Okay.
So I'm looking to have us covered all the way around. That's why I thought, and I would notice Tank is doing that. Guardians of Camelot are unincorporated, tax exempt, because no funds are out yet, correct?
Right.
So I'm sure, I haven't looked into what Tank had emailed me or something. I was looking at their jury administration for the counties, but there are disadvantages, and I think the biggest disadvantage they said was not being able to get as many people to donate to you because you don't have your letter of confirmation that says you're a nonprofit. So
your recognition of exemption.
Right. Your letter of certificate's what gets you most of your donations. And you can actually have property, and even as an unincorporated, you could have property donated, guys. You can still have property donated to you. You get almost all the same rights and privileges as the 501c3c, but you just don't have that letter. And liability is a bit different. But I thought it would be good. I mean, we can definitely go back out. Everyone sitting here should go out and do as much research as they're possibly able to do, because you guys will definitely come up with other information than what I have as well.
Yeah, the 501c3 says you and your fellow association members are not exposed to the potential personal liability that you would have if your group continued to function as an unincorporated association.
Yes. So with the 501, you're still filing under Articles of Incorporation. So you're like usually an LLC or something like that. So, well, there's lots of different ways to do it. The thing about being 501, getting the 501, the nonprofit status, is that you get your determination letter. You can go after your grants. You can go after lots of different grants. When you converse with other people, they take you, well, I don't know. That's what I was reading. They says that they take you more seriously. I don't know if that, we haven't done, this isn't something I haven't done before. So we'll just have to work through it together, I think. Did I answer your question, Debbie?
Yeah, the discussion was good. I definitely think that moving in the direction of a 501c3 is or whatever the nonprofit is the right direction to go. But yeah, if you think that would get us going faster, that'd be fabulous.
Well, I'm saying we can do both. I think we can do both. The one will get us serious fast. What it does is it energetically moves us into an area where we're actually participating in reality. We took it off the chalkboard. It's not on the drawing board anymore. Now it's in the real. It's out here where we perceive it, right? Where all of us can perceive it and other people can perceive it. And you can still receive donations. You can get land donations. You can get grants. You can get all that. It's just they say it's harder to get it if you don't have your status locked in. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay.
Huh.
So, definitely read
purpose or purposes. You already, you're that whatever bit you put together sounded really good, and that sounds like you already put together our exempt purpose or purposes that outline the association's articles of association.
Well, yeah, all that stuff goes together hand in hand pretty good, because we all know what we really. Well, we all know. We know what we want. We want the farming. We want to help people. We want to feed people. We want to make money to put back into it to help more people. And there's all kinds of ways. I'm sure that this isn't even all the ways. This is a beginning. This is our baby steps, right?
Yeah.
We get out there and we take our baby steps and we let everybody in the universe know this is what we're doing. We're going to be responsible. We're going to step up and represent humanity in a way that's responsible. We get Thomas, we're getting our big panties on, right? We're going to do it. Anybody else have a question?
Could I just jump in for 1 second?
Oh, yes.
We have someone on the call who's new to the call. Not new to the main group, but I'd like to ask Cheryl Ray if you could unmute and introduce yourself to everyone that might not know you.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hi, Cheryl.
Okay. All right. So, yes, I've been following, and let's see. I did join the very first Zoom call, I think, and that the guy from Nevada was with us. I don't know, and then I was communicating on chat And he could see, but I don't think the rest of you were aware of the chat, or I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so I got freaked out because people were being required to tell their personal reasons for being there and stuff. And so I sort of got freaked out because my neighbor was, could hear me. And I don't even know what you guys probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But anyway, I was explaining all of this in the chat box. Do you know what the chat box is? You do? Do
Sure.
you? Okay. All right. But anyway, so I wrote a bunch of stuff there, but I don't think anyone saw it. So anyway, what do you want to ask? Why don't you just ask me questions? I live in Eureka, California. I'm from Washington, D.C. I've been in Eureka for 3 years. Let's see. Can you just ask me questions? I don't know what you want to. I have a marketing background. I worked at a big hospital in Washington, D.C., the oldest hospital in Washington, D.C. I was the analyst for environmental services, and I had to do a lot of marketing stuff, and I had to create a lot of training materials and marketing materials and all kinds of stuff. We did lots of catering and fundraising and stuff there, as you can imagine. And I had to create lots of posters and presentations for the vice presidents to present to each other. And so I'm good at PowerPoint presentations. I'm really good actually at PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that. And let's see. So I don't know what else you want to know. So just ask me questions.
That's perfect, Cheryl. We just wanted you to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, which you did, and feel free to listen in and catch up. And if you want to ask a question, just raise your hand in the. I believe you do that in the chat, Phyllis. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. There's you click on participant. There's a thing at the bottom of the screen. If you put your mouse there, you've got something called participants. You click on that, and you will see where you can say mute me or raise hand. It'll give you the option, that kind of thing, mute or unmute or raise hand.
Okay, I haven't raised my hand before. Okay, so.
Okay, and the only thing I ask is if you raise your hand, please lower it after you're done talking. That would help me out. Awesome. And Cheryl, I sent you a little quick chat there because I work on the group list, and so I could add you in from just the information you've given us tonight. And so the name that's showing up here is your name, right? I mean, your full name?
Yeah, that's my name. And okay, so do you want me to email you so you have my email? Is that what you want?
That would be great. That would be great. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, I'm going to mute myself now. Unless you have a question. Does anyone have a question?
Kimberly does. She raised her hand.
Oh, hey. Yeah. Oh, she's muted.
Unmute, Kim.
I'm unmuting. My everything is opposite my tablet. So I'm like, that's not there. So hi, how are you, Cheryl?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for being on this call tonight. I'm excited because it sounds like you're a super creative person.
I am.
Yeah, I am. That you are. So what showed out to me was that with all of our marketing people and our analysts and our skills people, that when we really get this ball rolling, we're going to need people to get our name out there to help us networking with the other groups and with other people. And it sounds like you're going to, you can do whatever you want, but it sounds like you might have a niche for that.
Yeah, I'm sort of excited about that part. Yes, yes, I must say.
Sounds like you're a very creative
So,
person. Glad to have you here.
I'm sorry that I haven't been. I've been trying to follow you guys, but the Facebook, what do you call it? I haven't been getting your Jim's feed. You know, it's like I have to actually go and look for you guys's posts and stuff, and I don't know why that is. It might be because I follow so many different things. You know, that's possible. But maybe if I'm more active on our THI California group, then maybe it will start showing up more often in my news feed. You know, I don't know if you know what I mean, but I just follow like hundreds of different things. So anyway, yeah, so sorry I haven't been very active, but I have been following, and I posted some stuff, and I realized that I was probably missing a call, so that's why I jumped in. Like I was just posting on the name vote, the vote for the name, and yeah, and so actually the name that I had wanted to submit, but I got super involved in this incredibly time-consuming research project last week that I've just been so focused on. But anyway, so I was thinking something like co-op for Vibrant California or Vibrant California Co-op, but I guess I missed my chance in submitting that. But I love that it is not, it doesn't use the word farm. It just, like, it can allow us to branch out into any area, like hempcrete, you know, manufacturing, or small affordable community development, or I love the idea of alternative cancer treatment, like the canna oil or whatever it's called, what's it called? I don't know. But anyway, what Bill makes. So, okay, I think I'm done talking. I didn't expect to talk. I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. But anyway.
Well, you're not too late, Cheryl.
I'm nervous.
Go right ahead and submit your name to Phyllis. And yes, we were going to decide on a name tonight, but after Kimberly did her presentation, it sounds to me like we're not in a major hurry to pick that name, because it's going to take a while to establish the nonprofit. Correct, Kimberly?
We could go with the unincorporated and get that registered as we're filing for our nonprofit. So we'll have two things going simultaneously. And the thing of it is we can have as many hubs on our spokes on our hub as we want, with all the healthcare people, all the practitioners, the people who want to farm. Time banking runs through all of it, because all of it can be used that way. My ultimate goal, I would think, would be for as many of us as who want to or would be interested in getting into a community. You know, having our own nice, wonderful, little, beautiful community somewhere.
Yeah, that would be neat.
And using the time, and using your services. You know, I mean, you're going to have some money at some point, but I mean, that's further down the pipe, I'm sure. But that's the stuff we can all think about and dream about right now. So there's really nothing we can't talk about or bring up.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to shut up now.
Hi, Cheryl.
Okay.
All right, Cheryl, you've got my email in the chat. Can you see that?
Oh, let's.
You got it? Oops.
Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else want to ask a question or bring up a topic or on this, or have some ideas?
I think Eric had some things he wanted to interject into what Kimberly presented. You there, Eric?
Eric?
Okay, well, Bill's got his hand raised.
Hi, and welcome, Cheryl. So I had this guy in today, and I'm sure this is probably going to be the same throughout any city or county in California. And he comes in all the time, and I go, where are you going? He's like, well, I got to go to this meeting in Oakland. It's about the city and all these developments. I'm like, what if somebody came up with an idea to put like an organic farm in the city? He's like, that would be approved in like 5 seconds. I'm like, do they do grants for that? He's like, they do grants for that. I'm like, so if you put up a farm there just to feed everyone in this city, he's like, it would be approved in a second, and it's a great idea. It's just no one's willing to do it. And I'm like, well, what about all these new housing projects? He's like, every new housing project and like even the military bases around here they're all built with farms are supposed to be in these already. So if somebody put up a new apartment complex wherever, they have permits and are actually supposed to be putting in little farms with them. But no one ever does it. I mean, a builder's not going to do it. That's like the last thing on his mind. But I'm just saying, as we get closer and we zero in on this business plan, we can go to any city we want and put this proposal in and go for grants and just start doing it. So that's another thing we can do without having to wait for the money. I just wanted to throw that out there. I was kind of shocked that his answer, he's like, I deal with the city all the time. And he's like, if you can't, and he's like, there's so much land out there. And there is, there's not land for building. Like if you want to put up a tract homes, they won't let you do that. But, a farm doesn't take up that much space. And, I just wanted to let everyone know that, I'm sure San Ramon is no different than any other county throughout California. They want this type of stuff, and the local politicians, I think, would go for it. So if we presented something to a county and got some grants, we could go ahead and start doing it. And then with the time banks, I love that idea. I mean, we just need to zero in and make some decisions on actually how we want to do this and then go from there. But I just wanted to throw that out there, and that's all I really got to say tonight.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Just do your lower hand. Okay, Eric's here.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. I was trying to talk last time and I had myself unmuted, but you guys couldn't hear me. First, I want to say thanks to Kimberly for putting the time in to collate all that information. It was really great. And it's funny because, like you're saying, you can start, amongst your, friends and family. And when I was in construction, I had a couple of friends that we kind of had a similar type of agreement, but we kind of referred to it as, the favor program, where, we would do favors for each other. Like if I was in a bind in a job and I needed some help getting something done, but maybe there wasn't enough money in the budget to hire somebody to do it, then they would come in and they would help me do the work for free, but then I owed them a favor. And at any point in time in the future, when they needed my help, I had to be there to help also. So it was similar, and it was interesting that I kind of was reminded of that when you were discussing time banking and that aspect of it. I also know of somebody else that does something similar. It's modified, but they do it amongst businesses. So what they do is that basically they give a 25% discount. Basically, they'll take 25% of the whatever they were going to charge somebody in the form of kind of like a time bank or something like that. So they're still, bringing in revenue for their business, but then there's this, which makes it more affordable for the person making the purchase, but then there's this 25%, buffer of where like something like a time bank comes in. So that was something. And I had heard them mention this a couple years back or like a year ago, and I was reminded of it. So I'll reach out to them and kind of see how that's progressed. But as far as I know, it's something they had been doing for a while, and it was, feasible between them as other businesses, like a mechanic shop, a computer guy, and, things like that where, but I didn't know if they had like a type of, network, so to speak, where, that person would then, repay time to someone that they didn't do work for or didn't have that transaction with. I'll find out some more information on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric. Tricia has her hand up.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for doing all that work. It was great. It's nice to meet you, Cheryl. And Bill, I think that's amazing how you just happened to start talking to that guy and got all that information from him. For everybody who wasn't on the call last week, I said that I was going to get in touch with this woman from Tank's group who he had recommended to get in touch with about growing, and I wanted to, if it's okay with everybody, wanted to read off some notes. She called me. We finally got in touch with each other, and I just pulled out my Word and I started typing everything she was saying so I could get as much info from her as I possibly could. So if it's okay, can I go ahead and maybe share some notes?
That's fine with me.
Okay, so I guess my first thing was that I asked her was ideas for getting land. And she said that churches that own land will donate land for community gardens, community farms, or just community gardens. She said to contact municipalities, and she said sometimes they'll give over land because they don't want to have to pay someone to mow the grass on it. And so it actually is cost effective for them to actually give it to the public so that they can grow on it. She also said farmers that have extra corners of land where it's too costly to grow, they might donate land to us. She said they choose someone who's doing big scale things like grain, and things like that, because corn, stuff like that, because otherwise people who are growing vegetables, we would be in competition with them and they wouldn't, obviously want to donate to us. But people who are doing grain, farmers might want to do that. And then she said it's important that we decide how we want to grow, because one of the things that she does is she says our soil, we've had a lot of the carbon, like what percentage? She said like it's like 60% of the CO2 from the plants that has been removed. So she teaches people how to bring that back to the soil. She said it's also important not just to get organic seeds. She said that, let's see, what did she say? Trying to find. I'll just read from what she told me. So she said people that live in apartment complexes, they can grow too. That you can grow tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce. You can sow seeds in a very small space. She said if you have healthy soil, you won't have to worry about pests and funguses, so you won't need any type of pesticides. So the healthier the soil, the less pests we'll have to worry about. She said it's not enough to be free from pesticides. We just need to have better soil. The soil is in connection to the in and out breathing of the planet, and that will help us in turn get in touch with our higher selves as well. She said that there's a big communication network is in our microorganisms that are in our soil. Therefore, we need to learn about the health of the soil. And the plants actually are able to communicate to other plants. And she said that would actually help us be able to communicate to the planet and the stars above us. Soils and plants have different energies that come from the sky as well. I don't know. She said it's all connected. So she said that we've lost about 60% of our humus produced, which is a high level of built up carbon, and that will draw CO2 from the air. During the last 100 years, we've removed the CO2 from the plants. So she said some plants have the ability to fix the carbon. They have the ability to take the carbon out of the air and convert it into plant available to carbon. She said clover, alfalfa. Alfalfa is actually called the queen of the fields because it has the ability to heal the soil. So she said when we plant things, we need to put the clover and the alfalfa, peas, beans, plants, and let's see, that's pretty much it for that. And she told me something really, she said the quality of the seeds we have is important. She said that some of the organic seeds are actually, she said, don't buy F1 hybrid because they are made in a lab. She said what we need are organic biodynamic seeds. And I found a website for some biodynamic seeds that she approved of, and she said, she sent me one too. I guess my question is, I know that Miriam had put up that spreadsheet, but I don't know if I can add this to it. I think maybe I'll just share this as soon as I edit it, this document that I have of some of the things that she told me. I'll maybe put it on the Facebook page. But she also said that she told me something interesting, that she said that they don't water a lot. And she said that when you're out on a farm, she has taught people not to water. She said because the plants actually become addicted to the amount of water that they get, and they'll just want more. So she said that they had one of the driest summers they've ever had this summer, and she said and they had great crops. And she said that what they do is they put the plant, they plant the plant, and she was into the no-dig garden thing. She loves the no-dig garden, which I was talking about to her. And she said that that's a great idea because the less work you have to put into the garden, the better. Of course, you need people to weed it, but you should just be able to let it grow on its own. And if you have good soil, she said putting cardboard down, like Kimberly had suggested, and things like that. But she said that what they do when they plant is they put the plant in and they put 1 cup of water with it, and then they put wood chips. She said you can put straw, but straw won't hold water where wood chips will. And then when the plant gets thirsty, it'll draw them from the wood chips. So she said also once you get done, when you grow your vegetables, you of course take your best vegetable you have and you save the seeds from that plant and you dry them out, and then you use them again for the next garden. And then you need to like move your beds around so that you're not, like if you grow one season, you should move away from that dirt the next season so that you can give that soil a chance to rejuvenate. But she said starting with lawn, no-dig gardening, layers of cardboard without print, of course. Instead of digging in the grass, after a month, that cardboard will start to deteriorate. She said put some compost soil. I'm just trying to go through my notes right now. She said that we can also go to like a waste management place and they have free compost. So she thought she said that was a good idea. So let's see. So she said when you start growing, you can remove the straw or the wood chips around the plant when it starts getting, so that the plant can grow, but you still want to leave it around the plant so that it can draw from that water. And the straw or the wood chips will keep the nutrients in the soil. And then you can place it around the plants. And she said, the more that you actually work the land, you're actually disturbing the microorganisms. So it's better to do as little work as possible, but you still have to weed. So also when it rains, the wood chips absorb water. She said watering systems for plants is like a drug addiction. So you don't want to water much because the plant will not develop a root system. It becomes lazy and expects you to bring the water. So if you don't water as much, it'll search for the root system and nutrients. Let's see. She said when you're growing vegetables, you want to grow trees with them because trees have a large root system connection where they can go out and get the nutrients. She says they've also discovered that plants have a communication where they will look after the other plants that don't have the nutrients. Even if they're not in sunlight, that trees will actually bring the nutrients of the sunlight to the plant that doesn't have any.
Wow, that sounds like they're doing their own time banking right there, plants.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why I think the time banking thing is so important because we're going to be needing it when we have this co-op or when we start doing this. We're going to need people to help with our gardens, and the time banking is perfect for that. And then she told me about this place in Dubai. They have a suburb called Sustainable City. And she said that as soon as we got up and going and the funds came out and she was able to, she would come to California and help all of us. So I thought it was pretty amazing. So that's pretty much all I have. She did send me some videos. I'm going to post them on the Facebook page. It shows who she is and what she does. She's amazing. She's amazing. I felt so bad for her too because she said that she had a farm. She, had cows, and her husband made these really award-winning cheeses, and the bank went in, and she had $100,000 in the bank, and they took it from her, and she lost her farm.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know it is.
Yeah.
And I just told her it sounded like that everything happens for a reason, and that she's going to end up being the world's farmer. So I think that I can just see her going from place to place to place to teach people how to fix the soil and grow things. I now know more than I've ever known about growing. I now know more than the average person about growing plants, and I'm somebody who has what I would consider to be a black thumb, but it was a pretty amazing experience. She's a really, really nice lady. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, Tricia, that's great. Would you do me a favor and maybe since I'm in MeWe, would you just email me the links you're talking about, the information you're talking about? Could you do that?
Absolutely.
Okie dokes. Thank you. Now, Kimberly, you got your hand up.
Tricia, that was great. That's perfect. That's all the exact information that we're going to need. So I'm so happy to hear that she connected with you. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, she's an amazing woman. She's very, very nice. And I told her, I told her about, how we should, instead of planting just trees, we should have fruit trees, and that way nobody would go hungry. This is something we should have all over the planet. And that's when she told me about the city in Dubai. It's called the Sustainable City. If anybody want to look it up, It's very cool. She said she said that she had some pointers for them too. But she was telling me about it. I have the link to it, and I can put that on the Facebook page as well.
Gosh, I would love to go there. That would be great. Thank you for sharing that. That was really exciting.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was exciting to do. I was super excited about it. So I think that my next goal, as far as I'm going to do, is I'm going to start looking at maybe calling around and seeing who around here. First of all, I'm going to find out where we already have community gardens, because I know we have a couple of them, and probably join them, and then figure out where I can go to get some other land.
Right.
And then share that with you guys so that you guys know what we can do.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. That's great.
Yeah, thank you too.
I had a question for Bill. Is Bill still there?
Bill, you up?
I'm here.
Hey, Bill. When you were talking about the planned development, so like subdivisions, is that what you were talking about?
Well, they put up they're like condos, but they're all attached.
Right.
There'd be like, 900 families.
Okay.
And they build cul-de-sacs, and they'll put out like softball fields and soccer fields, and they'll put a school in. It's a whole like little cities they've been over like the past 5 years putting them in. In our area, it's mainly Indian type people. I don't know how to say it. But they all like live out there, and it's like it's your own home, but they're all connected. Right. So it's like a 5-bedroom place, but it's connected. Like if you knock on the wall, you're knocking on the other guy's 5-bedroom
like
place.
A multi-family dwelling, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But and then they also have apartments, and I mean they just popped up, and they're all over the place now out there. And there's school. I mean, this city just went crazy. Now there's major 4-lane roads going out there. It just like happened. So, and that's when.
No, go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, and that's why I go, well, how could they put a farm out there? There's like, they built all that stuff. He's like, there's so much land out there. He's like, there's land everywhere.
You know what? That's a good way for us to get started right there.
That's what I was thinking, because I know my husband's an engineer, and he used to do subdivisions like down by Bakersfield. They would do like 5,000 tracts. Like the tract had 5,000 homes in it. It was horrified by it, but I mean, this is what they were doing. That was what they were doing. But inside of that, the question I'm having is because the developers are responsible for like the community. So they'll have community parks and benches and doggy places and older people places. There's certain specific things the developer will have to build inside of these little communities that you're talking about. And I think some of them are community gardens. So that's what I was wondering, is if we could get a hold of that, like Tricia just said, you could start easily. You could start right there. That would be, because that stuff.
Yeah, they had to put in a library.
Yeah, that stuff is laid off to the side in the middle of the development, because my husband used to have to, he was the design guy, so he would have to grade all the land and make it match to the buildings. So he always had to know where all the gardens and all these other things were that had to go in, and all the setbacks and stuff. So as soon as you said that, I couldn't believe I totally forgot about that. There's actually in some of the bigger developments, there's quite a bit of property set aside for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And yeah. So tomorrow I'll go out there and make it like a little video.
Okay.
Just drive around. I mean, there's so many. I mean, it's like huge, and there's tons of them. When I first opened the restaurant, I deliver pizzas out there, and I couldn't believe it. And then you pull into the apartment complex, and it's just, there's like 2,000 of them in there. And then there's homes, and they're all packed together. But I didn't see, I mean, yeah, they should be putting in gardens. They should be putting in more different parks. I see the softball fields, but Yeah, there's room out there. And I'm sure it's the same up and down the state.
Oh, you know what? This is going to be our playground, you guys. This is going to be our playground because now it's coming to us. All the information that we need is going to come to us. And we could literally just be starting. We could have our hub, our main THI California. We can be working on working under an unincorporated, get it registered while we're waiting for our 501. And then we can just start playing. We can start getting this stuff going. This stuff is good. I just know it's there. It's available for us. With the people in the communities where they're stacked up on top of each other, that would be where, now Trisha, I don't know if she talked to you about vertical gardening. Do you guys know, Bill, do you know about that?
I've just seen how they do it in aquaponic videos. But yeah, it's totally doable.
You can take a tiny space and go vertical with it and grow just as much produce.
Yeah, I think that's what she was talking when she was telling me about the apartment gardens. And she said, and by the way, when you do have a garden in your apartment, you do have to water it because it's a completely different animal than just watering out on land. Where,
right. Because the soil's been disrupted from all the construction. So you have to go back in and you're going to have to build that health of the soil. And that just takes, like you said, compost, fungus, mycorrhizae, all that kind of stuff. But that's stuff that you can teach people to do. And that's part of our component is to teach people to do stuff. So I'm so happy that you made that connection with her.
Well, she wants to do more. She wants to do more to help us. But yeah, I mean, I'll go back and forth with her if we need to ask her more questions. I just emailed her the other day. She wanted.
Is she in California?
Huh?
Is she in California?
She's in Denmark.
Oh, okay.
She's part of Tank's group.
Lady?
Yeah, she's part of Tank's group, but she listens to Thomas's shows. Okay. And but I mean, like she said, it's best if we all work together. We're all trying to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I think that this is a good idea. So that's going to be my little homework assignment that I'm giving myself is I'm going to start investigating, like you did, Bill. I'm going to go see if there's any new tract homes situations that are going up and see if there's any land by the ones that have already been built that they can maybe give us for a community garden for that community, because isn't that our idea? To get a garden in every community so that people have food in case anything happens, or just to become sustainable within themselves without having to depend on anybody.
Absolutely. And I think I'm going to go, and where I live in Chico, I don't know if you guys have have you heard of Lumberg rice?
I haven't. Mm-hmm.
It's huge. They're organic rice growers, and they're just minutes away from me. And I actually used to live out there, and I know them. So I'm actually going to go ask them if there's any little piece of plot or anything that they have that they would be willing to give up.
Great idea.
Thank you, you guys.
Thank you, Kimberly.
I'll go up to the city tomorrow and ask them, and I'll also ask them, like, if I wanted to get a grant or something, how that would go, who I'd at least talk to or try and find out how to even go about that. Because, if we can get a grant and land, I mean, now things are rolling.
Yeah. I've also heard that ginger is a big cash cow crop. So I know we want to get away from the cash system, but until we do, it's probably a good idea to maybe grow some of that, and it's super easy to grow. Believe it or not, it's ginger. I don't know why. I guess you can get some good money.
Does that grow in the ground?
Huh?
Ginger grows in the ground, doesn't it?
Yes.
I was thinking, okay. Yeah. Oh, it's a root.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a root. Were you thinking of ginseng?
No, ginger.
Ginger, okay.
I have a question. Did they approve for us to grow hemp? They did, didn't they?
Yeah, we can grow hemp.
Is not only is that a good crop to grow, but it also has a unique energy that it puts out in the atmosphere, as I understand it. It's something everybody would want growing around them.
Well,
it cleans the soil. It also cleans up the soil. So if you have a contaminated area or you have too much nitrogen in your soil, so say maybe agri-farmers were using too much pesticides or too much whatever fertilizer, then they would go ahead and plant a hemp crop over. You could come in and cover people's crops and be done in a couple months. The hemp grows really quick. Turn that over and it will clean up that entire area. And then you could turn around and sell the plant for hempcrete.
That's great.
That is great. You can do so many things with hemp.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So much thing. I have a pair of hemp shoes. I think I told Eric that. I have this pair of hemp shoes that I bought 2 years ago, and they look brand new. And I wear them all the time, and they're great. I've worn them in the winter, and I wear them in the summer. And in the summer, they keep my feet cool, and in the winter, they keep my feet warm. It's just, and they feel like cotton. They're amazing.
It's an amazing product.
Hey, this is Kenny. I got a couple questions. If we're done, close to done.
Oh, go ahead, Kenny.
Thank you. Hey, this time bank thing's awfully interesting. I like that. I was missing the first of the call because I was late getting in. They said we were going to vote on a 501c. Is that all part of this time bank thing, or did we take a vote, or what's happening with that?
We didn't vote yet. No, we're not quite there yet.
Okay. The question I have is if you're taking like my remote areas in Mendocino, if you're going to help somebody and do barter for one skill set for another skill set, and you've got to drive 40 miles, and it's reciprocal in the other direction, I take it for whatever you're bartering for in a skill set.
Kimberly?
Do we understand that?
Kimberly, can you answer that one?
So does travel time count as actual time?
I don't know the answer to that question. I thought of more local, like people right next to each other, but I can go get that research for you. So you're in a rural community, people who are farther away from each other.
Yeah, I'm up in Mendocino. It's a very, very fertile growing area. Lots of co-ops, lots of farmers, lots of people doing their own thing, and Friday markets, as I talked about before. So it might work out well. It's just you got to drive away sometimes to get somebody to help an old lady. You got to drive 40 miles, and she can't drive 40 miles back. That's not the issue, really. It's just a question about write-offs or IRS or how that fits in. So that was my question there. But
the time banks aren't barter, so they're not subject to barter exchange laws, fair use, and market value. They don't. Time banks themselves, because it's a service for service. It's a 1 hour of your work equals one credit, one time dollar. So it's it's straight up tax exempt.
So Kimberly, I'm thinking that maybe if that person had a specific skill that the other person needed and couldn't get it from anywhere else, I would imagine then that drive time would also constitute as part of.
You could do that. That's literally, yes. If you're starting your own group and it's a very limited amount of people in a very spread out area, you just have to come up with your own rules.
Yeah.
To make it so it works for you guys.
Right. And I'll pro bono. The other thing, a couple questions I got is, let's see here. On security, has everybody checked out their security and worked that out as far as their, this is not any fear thing. This is just straight up reality on your computers. When I came in, I heard somebody saying they were getting updates to Windows and blah, blah, blah. Please check out your security and make sure that that you're not susceptible to being tracked and attacked even more, and to stealing of our information.
I always am. Ken, I'm always attacked. I used to do some work that brought me under the scrutiny of the CIA and NSA. So
Yeah.
my stuff is always looked at. My computer is now dead. Remember I said, you guys, I had the cord because I was 100% when we started? I went about 75% to nothing, and I immediately had to plug my computer in. So I just get screwed with 24/7 all the time, and I'm just used to it. So I just don't.
Yeah.
I just deal with it. Do whatever I got to do. So.
Okay. Well, there's software out there. If you pay for it, by contract they gotta give you a service. They have to track you, or that the backdoors to the NSA and all that are there. But there's good people in the NSA too. There's good people there, and I've some of my work has been in that area too. But I'll say no such agency as far as that's concerned. And it's if you're doing pro bono and you're doing good stuff, you won't get messed with, except for these bots and AI that's out there. And let's be realistic, they're out there, and you get your security software, keep it updated and scan often. Windows is a lot more of an issue than Mac, but some of your older operating systems on Macs will still go. Older Chrome Internet or older Firefox will still run, even though they say you got to update. But they're less susceptible to some of the more security issues because there's less backdoors. Not too much talking about water, the water of life, and to ensure that all this stuff we're talking about is going to take free access to water in the cities. California, we're going to wait and see what this winter does, and I'm sure that the frequencies where we're going, we're going to get what we need, and I'm going to stay hopeful with that, and water will be available. But in my opinion, we've got to remain fluid right now when reactions to constant changes in the plan and what's going on. I have full confidence that things are going the right way. But, just keep your eye on your 6, and let's not forget about water, man. The water of life, that's the most important thing. And remember protein during the winter. Winter's coming. The only thing that services protein, unless you've got a huge plant-based protein operation and vertical small spaces or large, and for my studies recently, is aquaponics. If you look at the starving areas of the world, like, as I said before, the West Bank, where people are crammed in by the Zionists and they have to survive on their own, that's what they're using. And it's quite a system. And thank you for your time. And please, shields up, firewall, and thank you so much. That's about all I got.
Okay, Ken, thank you. Anyone else? Guess we gave people a lot to think about.
If we don't have any more questions or anything like that, there was some things that I discussed today with Jim that I would like to share with everybody, some of the ideas I have. It's not, it can be applied to what we're doing, but also it's something that could be applied to, the concept could be applied to, other businesses that people might be currently, within and things like that. So, I want to give enough space to, anyone who has anything else to say before I kind of change topic for a second.
Go ahead, Eric.
Okay. Earlier on a call today with Jim, we kind of discussed the last interview or show that Thomas had just done with Alan, Randy, and Kim. And and one of which was on Circle of White Light, Alan's show. And one of the things that they kind of, and it's not something new per se, but it was when, before Thomas had talked about, a $1 per person per month is, $380 million a month if every person that lived in California was to donate. And, he also voiced that it was not something that there was very many people that decided to jump into that and were willing to do so and that kind of thing. So I had kind of been thinking about that idea for a while, and there's a lot of people that, THI has a wide reach around the globe, but not necessarily a majority within America. And something that I'm looking to apply in the businesses I run is that so whenever you transact with a customer, there's an exchange of money that's happening. And what I'm working on for at least to be applied within my business is that, let's say it's $1 or a percentage, depending on how the math breaks down in either one. But let's say I transact with 100 customers in a month. If I take $1 from every transaction that I make with those customers and donate that, whether it is to our 501c3 or whether it's People's Club or, something to that effect, you're indirectly accomplishing that same thing of what Thomas was proposing. And I know that there's some businesses that operate on a thin margin, but largely, $1 per person or per however you decide to do that. If you're a business owner, one, it acts as a tax write-off for the business as a donation, but then it's also creating a way to self-fund ourselves and to create some type of social impact in whatever we see fit. So, and that's something, with the farming aspect, us giving food away is that similar idea. We're self-funding a way to create a social impact. And, but it's something that could realistically be applied to any business. And I know that more and more, because of wages and things like that, there's a lot of people that are, looking to start their own businesses or currently operate a business, that if, they were to take on that idea, it's an indirect way for us to create revenue to be able to put into the things we want to change. And it's also along the lines of what Thomas was proposing, months ago. And, it's essentially you're making a donation on the behalf of those people that you're transacting with. And, whether they know about THI or not doesn't matter. A part of what they're still indirectly contributing to overall change within society. as long as the person who's acting as a conduit of that transaction makes that step to take that little piece to contribute to, some type of social impact. So that's something I just wanted to share, that conversation that Jim and I had earlier today. And, if you are currently a business owner and the feasibility is there within your business, there is, the tax benefit of it, which, decreases your overall amount that you would be taxed on. So it's, something to think about as well, that that's also a way for us to, self-fund ourselves. I mean, what I would like to do personally, and it's still taking me, because when you're starting a business, there is that initial cost and first, couple of years of establishing that foundation of, making sure you have reserves to operate the business and not depleting yourselves. But, for me personally, I would like to take a percentage of my overall whatever I transact, and, somewhere between, depending on what it is, but on the low end, 3%, on the high end, 10%, to, fund these other aspects. So that's just something I wanted to share with you guys, and put out there as another way for us to, there's, on a tax level, there's the benefit, whether it's personally or in a business, to donate, because you're able to write that off. And those were things that, Kim had said within that call. But it's also a way for us to spread the word, at least on a business level. Personally, it's not necessarily something that I would, put out there in that sense. I wouldn't be against it, but like on a business level, on a website, I think that posting that a contribution of what your customers transact with you, goes out to create change within society. So it's another way to bring awareness to THI, the People's Clubs, and our state group. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. And if anyone has any comments or feedback on that, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric. Tricia has her hand up.
I was just going to say, I was thinking along the same lines as you were, because I listened to that show last night, Eric. So I was thinking, how could we do that? But I also think that when we get the co-op started, since we're starting it through THI California or whatever our name is going to be, we should be able to take, if the co-ops, if people are donating or towards the co-op, I think that a certain percentage, it doesn't always have to be $1, but the more people that do it and the more gardens we start, we could donate $1 of that money back to THI as well. Is that feasible?
I think it's definitely feasible. It's just a matter of being diligent on how you model the business and knowing, usually, they talk about margins, and usually that has to do with what's the upsell over cost from what you purchase something or you manufacture something, which is essentially your profit. So, that's your money that you could then decide on, well, a certain percentage we're going to use to, give away as food, which has a dollar value to it, which would be to that. But I mean, I don't see why, another little piece out of that area can't be to, donate for things that aren't necessary, whether it is to help start other gardens, or even if it's to go to some other, to, the People's Club overall, either way, it's still being used for society's benefit. And, we can decide on where, money goes, but I definitely think that that's feasible, in it.
I mean, especially since we're going to take these funds that we get, grants, whatever, to start the co-ops, even if people are giving, to be a member of that co-op, you have to say, like Kimberly was talking about, or anybody else, it's $50 a month. Some of that funding, or, and if the more gardens we get started and the more communities contribute, there's nothing wrong with taking $1 out of that funding and giving it back to the People's Club that started the gardens in the first place.
I would agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's fine.
And I think it's, like you said, I think it's definitely the more gardens and things that are created, the better overall, because, the way pricing goes, unfortunately, is based off of supply and demand. And as there is more supply of things, then the price of it goes down because it's not based on scarcity. So the more gardens that pop up and are producing things ultimately make everybody's food costs go down. And as long as you're, not in the situation where you're taking in a bunch of debt and all that kind of thing, where you have a high operating expense on a monthly basis, then that price drop in whatever you produce doesn't really hurt you that bad, because you're not taking in a bunch of money that you then are indebted to anything. So, managing that aspect of it and keeping things lean, gives us a lot of flexibility overall. This isn't, a project of people getting rich over, it's providing food for the overall benefit of society. And when that mindset is where everyone operates from, and, from the heart because they care, then there's a lot of flexibility and durability, because, nobody's filling their pockets with money, where that money is either staying within the organization to have the security if there's ever any kind of, thing that happens where, there's a problem with the crop or whatever the case is, having that reserve, you can stem the tide until you move past it, but then also you're able to then use that money into as almost like it's just as a fund to expand to more gardens and getting more people involved. And I mean, I think that not only are you feeding people in that way, but, bringing in with what Kimberly's been sharing today on time banks, you're also building the community and creating the opportunity for neighbors to reconnect with each other. Like where I live, it's very common for someone to come home, go and park in their garage, and never come outside, and never, really get to know their neighbors. Like it's sad that it's that way. So, creating community gardens and things like that creates a venue and a platform where people come and meet each other and, start rebuilding that community aspect of it. And when they know you're coming from a place of caring for the community and providing and trying to, make sure nobody goes hungry as best you can, then you're also having the energy and atmosphere of coming in from a place of caring and sharing. So that, when somebody sees that and sees other people within the community that gravitate towards that, that removes a lot of the apprehensions where somebody might have in meeting somebody new and getting to know them.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think like you said, the time banks and the community gardens are going to bring community together, and they were talking about that too in the presentation that Kimberly put into place, was that it's also a way to have people gather together, which is good. We're all in this for a common bond. I noticed Cheryl had a question in her text. She said, what is a time bank? Because she missed the first portion of it. Kimberly, is there any way that you can put that onto the Facebook page, maybe?
Well, Jim posts the recording generally the next day, and it's a video.
Oh, okay.
So the entire presentation will be, she can see the whole thing from the beginning and explained by Kimberly.
Okay, got it.
Right.
With that said, before we end, I just wanted to tell everyone that I did get a hold of Michael J. this week and briefly communicated to him our wanting to get the website going, along with everything else that we're implementing. And basically, it's come down to, from what Michael told me, is I was asking him to, if we could submit information to him on what we would like to upload onto the website to get it going. And in a few words, he made me understand that that's not how it works. Michael set up the website. I posted it. He put 3 prototypes, and the last one that I posted is the one we're going to roll with. But it's up to us. Michael put it together. It's really nice. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's on the pages. And there's only a couple of buttons where you can go to find any resources, and there's really not anything on there because we haven't built it. So it's up to us to build the website. And if you go there, on the bottom right, you'll see a link to the web host. And if you click on that, it'll take you to the web host that Michael used to create the background and the website itself. And from there, we need to use that web host to build the website the way we want it. In other words, upload things that Kimberly showed us tonight could be put on the website. So I'm not real familiar with those types of things, but if anyone else is, feel free to come on and do a presentation for all of us on how to use that web host to get the website up and running. And other than that, and all of you are free to go on there and check it out and see if you know how to navigate and maneuver on that web host. That's where it stands with the website.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, I got to figure out some of this stuff too, because I think WordPress is involved, and so I've got to learn something about WordPress. But yeah, it'd be great if we could find somebody who's already had some information put together or has already done the learning curve on that one. Okay, Demi, you have your hand raised?
Yeah. I'll check it out and see what it looks like. If it's WordPress, we'll see. But I'm familiar with websites and building them. I don't know how this process works, but I'll just check it out. And if there's anything I can contribute, I will.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Okay.
Thanks, Demi.
Yep.
I think that Cheryl just said she knows WordPress.
Thank you, Demi.
Yay.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
Cheryl, did you say you know WordPress? Can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I actually have made WordPress websites for people, and it's kind of a steep learning curve, but once you learn it, it's pretty intuitive, and and they have lots of gorgeous templates to use. So I've done it for I made one for let's see, an assisted living facility here in Eureka. And it's beautiful. And also for a friend, just like a blog, and they have lots of really good templates, and it's a great system. It really is. So it's not that hard, and I would totally be willing to run the whole website, and you guys could submit whatever you want, and I could, stick it in there. But I think that I could probably give you samples of what I've done, but I love WordPress. It's not easy to learn, but the end result is lovely. And they run the whole, you don't have to have your own server and all that crap. So I think it's great. So
Cheryl, would it help if I messaged you on Messenger, if I send you the link to the prototype that Michael has built? It'll take you right, the link will take you right to the, see, I don't even know what you call these things.
Yes, that would be fine. I'll find it. If you do that, I will find it. And
then, like I said, he has it set up to a web host, which is on the bottom right. It's another link that's on the actual website itself. At the bottom right, it's a web host that he suggested we use to upload information onto the website. So I'll just send you that link. Demi, are you on Messenger also? Facebook Messenger?
Not generally. Well, you could message me there, or you may have my email address. That'd be good.
Okay, we'll send it to your email address.
Yeah, that'd be
I'll
great.
get you that.
Look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to say good night. Thank you very much, everybody.
Anyone
Thank
else have
you.
anything they want to contribute, or you want to call it a night?
If someone can look up grants, I'll check into it tomorrow, but, if something pops up where you can go and look, that would help. But thank you. That was Kimberly. Awesome. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
And thanks everyone.
Thanks so much, Kimberly.
Thank you. Welcome,
And everyone.
I'm
Thank
glad
you.
guys showed up.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Great.
Good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Jim.
Great call. Thank you.
Thanks.